In this video, I'm going to show you how I convert a Mepps number 2 into a terrific perch lure that most importantly catches them, but also allows you to do an easy release. If any of you have ever used treble hooks on these guys, you know they get aggressive, and even the small ones will chomp down on all three hooks, and it is a real pain to get it out of their mouth. And I just feel bad every time I tried. So I'm going to be taking off the treble hook that came with it and replacing them with a Gamatsu SL11-3H saltwater hook. Single hook made for fly fishing in saltwater. So we are first going to take the hook, and I'm going to put some chartreuse deer tail on it, bucktail. For those of you who are fly fishermen, tie your own flies. You may not like my technique here, but it works for me. What I found really well to do is get some hard as nails clear nail polish and kind of use that as a binder. Put it on the hook to begin with, lay down the bucktail, take your winding thread, wind it up, and then occasionally come back and put a little bit more hard as nails polish on it. Doing it this way, you get several layers, it all meshes in, and the lures last a much longer time. I don't know if the fish really care, but I like to put a little feather on top. Certainly doesn't hurt, and I think it looks cool. So once again, we're going to add a little hard as nails, lay the feather down, and keep winding our thread around the whole thing. When you get that done, put a little bit more hard as nails on, and then go ahead and do some whip stitches to lash it down. After a few whip stitches, I'll go ahead and cut the thread, and then just do a few series of square knots. Like I said, I'm not a fly fisherman. I don't know how to tie it. I'm sure I'm being laughed at by a few of you. Just use whatever technique works for you, and if you know how to do it properly, fantastic. But this has worked well for me, and it stays on. That hard as nails, I think, is the trick. Just make sure it dries thoroughly so that the odor is reduced by the time you go fishing. Now that we got the hook done, the only tricky part comes right here. Now we got to attach a new split ring to the hook. I like to open it up with my little knife blade, get it started onto the hook itself, and then pick up the lure. Make sure you have the right end, and then put it on the open side of the hook, and then just rotate the whole thing until both are in place and everything is moving freely. And there you have it. Takes about 5 minutes to modify, and you have a much more humane hook, and one that in my experience just drives the white perch crazy, and it attracts any other predatory species that we find back here in the mid-Atlantic and the Bay regions and the tributary. There's a comparison of the original to the modified. So the next morning I decided I'd go out and we'll take a look at how it works. I left, this is a river south of Annapolis. I departed about 6:15. High tide is 8:30, and I spent about 3.5 hours out there. Moved around, and as with all perch fishing, what I like to do is cast a lure. If I don't get a strike in the first 3 or 4 hits, I'll just move on to the next area. There is plenty of perch, and they just come in. But take a look how easy it is to remove the single hook. And for those mini perch that are just under the size you want, they just go right back into the water with minimal stress or damage. So here we're going to take a look at some of my fishing. I use a ultralight rod with a small spinning reel and typically 10-pound braid. No leader, just a swivel, hooked right up to my lure. Occasionally when you cast it, the lure will get fouled, the hook will come back, catch it on the swivel. That's okay, just give it a few shakes if you're not feeling the resistance. That's typical with the spinner, and it usually resets itself with no problem. But this is a terrific fish catching lure. And again, my favorite part is it just provides such a simple, clean release. So let's watch some of the fishing. I'm not going to go through the full pulling in on all of them. I just wanted to give you some idea of what I do, and then a sample. So enjoy. I'll be back in a moment. You may notice that when I catch a good-sized fish, I bend down forward with it. What I'm doing is I have the optional rectangular hatch on my 2015 Hobie Outback, and the hatch itself measures just about 9 inches, and the frame on each side is an extra inch, so I've got a 9, 10, 11 inch handy ruler right there. And for me, for white perch, 9 inches is the minimum, 10 inches is preferred. Anything under 9 goes back, and I'm always shooting for that 10, 11 inch because these guys are amazing. Their body size just gets so much bigger with each inch they grow. This Berkley 5-foot Cherrywood Ultralight is just a joy for this type of fishing. It's small for the kayak, so I can handle it, and it really gives a good fight for every one of these perch. And it's handled everything for me. On this lure, I've caught catfish, and 2 years ago, I caught a 25-inch striped bass out on the bay with the same type of lure and the same fishing pole. So you can really catch just about anything out there with this guy. All right, I'm going to cut the video off here. You don't need to watch me keep catching more fish. But in that 3 hours, it was at least 60 fish. Most of them were on tape. Some of them weren't. I kept the 16 largest. These were all over 9.5 inches long. And for lunch, we had some white perch ceviche and some hoagies. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe. I am enjoying retirement. Take care.